Hello, and sorry, I accidentally hit I got rid of myself. Let's try that again. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who, if you thought he was depressed last week, Kyle, how are you holding up, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I've had better days.
Yeah. This has been so the Patriots. Who do you think did worse today, the Patriots or your picks?
Definitely the Patriots. I at least got two right. So
Yeah.
between not getting any of my picks right, going 2-5 on the week, the Patriots getting embarrassed for the second week in a row, my beloved West Ham United, who I've been a fan of for like 2 months, getting cheated out of 3 points. It's been a rough day. Rough day.
Oh
for
no.
me, I would say. So
Yeah. Kyle, can you eat mac and cheese, or is it like when you get have a bad breakup and can't listen to certain songs? Is it just one of those things you have to just avoid?
I don't think I've had mac and cheese in a while. Now that you think about it, now you're just going to talk me out of it from here on out. Actually, that's not true. I get buffalo chicken mac and cheese every now and then, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's cooked. We'll get to that.
We will get into all of that. But as always, speaking of getting cooked, the Dallas Cowboys, as always, starting off with the Sunday night game. This was an absolute domination by the San Francisco 49ers. I want to start off here because there's a lot of things we're going to talk about the Cowboys. Brock Purdy's he, as of right now, is an MVP candidate.
More than Christian McCaffrey?
More than Christian McCaffrey, yes, who was not the leading rusher of the day, interestingly enough. Brock Purdy, I think, has a chance to win MVP this year.
At this point, it's a possibility, right? Now, granted, we're saying this 5 weeks into an NFL season.
Of course.
Jalen Hurts has probably played his best football the last couple of weeks. Mahomes is still Mahomes, even if it hasn't been fantastic. Josh Allen has still been known to have some big games. Tua is still around. I mean, there's all these guys up and down the list. But, I mean, he's been flawless. I mean, I keep seeing quarterback rankings that have him ranked in the 20s. And, I don't know exactly who would come into this situation right now and play better. And maybe that's the biggest thing for Brock Purdy. I mean, last week he threw 1 incompletion. This week he had 7 incompletions, but I mean, it was basically another flawless performance. What exactly is another quarterback supposed to do that's better than Brock Purdy in this situation? He's doing everything that they want him to do and then more because he's basically throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. He does have fantastic talent around him, but my God, I mean, this guy's been flawless. He hasn't made a mistake since he entered the NFL.
Right. And again, I'm not necessarily saying I don't think he's the best quarterback in football, obviously. No. But I just think that, I mean, you look at the stat, he's leading the league in passer rating. He's leading the league in total EPA, which that almost always, the MVP is almost always the guy who has most total EPA. Currently leading that. And I don't see it slowing down. I think a big part of why I think he could win MVP is because of, Burrow, Mahomes, and Josh Allen have all kind of had slow starts to the year. But I mean, because again, top 5 leaders in passer rating, Brock Purdy at 1. You have Tua at 2. But I mean, if Purdy's better than Tua, you're going to give it to Purdy over Tua at stat because they both have the same counter argument of talent around him. Justin Herbert at 3. If his team can't win, he's not going to get it. Russell Wilson is at 4. He's certainly not going to get it. And then Josh Allen at 5. He's a contender, but I mean, again, the teams keep losing. So as of right now, I think it's a real shot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this keeps going. I mean, he's not going to go undefeated, right? This team's not going to go undefeated.
Are you sure?
And I don't think it's going to go undefeated.
I looked at the schedule. There's, I think, officially on undefeated watch. I'm just going to say that.
We'll see. I mean, it's just so
Okay.
hard to go undefeated. I mean,
Sure.
I don't think there's been anybody in the world higher than me on this San Francisco 49ers team. And it's just so hard to do that or predict
Yeah.
that, right?
It's
So,
highly unlikely.
yeah, I don't think it's going to go they're going to go undefeated. And I mean, honestly, the thing is with him too, like I think he's been fantastic. I would like to see him kind of have a bad game. You know, I want to see what happens. How does he respond to that? Because right now he's playing at confidence at an all-time high, and we've seen young quarterbacks play with confidence and play well. How does he respond from his first slip up, his first big mistake, something like that? So I think there's a few things to watch with the San Francisco team. But I mean, is there any debate right now this isn't the best football team in the league right now? Like they're running away with this.
Yeah, threw in a couple of negatives there that's throw me off a little. But I think if I'm doing power rankings, they're at number one right now, for sure. I guess the one thing I would still say with the 49ers is, like, you look at who they played: Steelers, Rams, Giants, Cardinals, and Cowboys. Rams played them tough. The other 4 games were blowouts. I still want to see them against, like, a really good offense. I still do have that, like, could they get outscored? And I still think I think Philadelphia, who maybe has been an underwhelming 5-0 to start the year, I still think they have a real chance. How fun would it be if they play each other early December? How fun would it be if they're both undefeated then?
That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing with Philadelphia is, like, I think their defensive line would at least test this offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they win consistently enough, though, because there's still so many playmakers. And then there's still the 49ers thing of what happens when this team has a few injuries.
Yeah.
They've stayed healthy, thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
knock on wood. And if they continue to stay healthy, I think they're going to win a lot of football games. But, if a couple of these guys go down, then obviously what's the adjustment? Because that's been their big thing over the years.
Yeah. Feels like a 2-horse race in the NFC. We'll get to the Eagles in a second. It's a 2-horse race. Cowboys not in this. Stop trying to make the Cowboys a thing. The Cowboys aren't a thing. The Cowboys are a playoff team. They are not a championship contender.
Here's basically what I surmised with the Cowboys at this point. This is my theory, and it may not even be a theory. It might just be what they are. I think this is this team. You could decide a Cowboys game in the first 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that this is a fantastic football team. Not just good, not just great. They're a fantastic football team when they're on script. When they're ahead, when they're running, when they're humming, things work fine. But this team, A, cannot consistently stop the run, and B, can't throw the ball downfield enough. And so when they fall behind in games, when things have to change, when they have to make adjustments, they're going to lose games, especially to teams this good. And it's going to look this bad because they can't do those fundamental things. And, I don't think this game was all on Dak or, anything like that. But that's probably the argument to where, if you want to write off Dak Prescott as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, is that he can't win in those situations. As soon as this team's down 10, it feels like it's over. And they just can't win in those situations when they have to battle back, where they have to make the adjustments. When they're on the forefront, this is a really, really good football team. But they can't adjust to the big boys when they have an answer for them.
Yeah, it's kind of a great point. They really are the definition of a front runner. Like, their team is completely set up to dominate bad teams, or to dominate once you get ahead, kind of force teams to have to throw, and then you're going to dominate, which is what they've done for 3 weeks of the season, which there's still a ton of value in that. And, hey, maybe in the playoffs they'll play the 49ers and Brock Purdy will throw a pick 6 on the first drive, and now it's a different situation. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. Kyle, let's do the guess the EPA for these two quarterbacks. Total EPA in this one.
Total EPA. I mean, Brock's got to be what? High teens, low 20s, I would say.
20.7. Nailed it.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say that, and then I would say Dak Prescott, what, like -5?
Minus 11.7. But
Yeah.
3 turnovers in there, that's going to hurt. Definitely a tough one for Dallas, who, I still think they're a good team. I still think they're a playoff team. I just think, it feels like a 2-horse race right now in the NFC, and it's going to, 2 months from now, we'll feel completely different about certain teams. But for now, that's how it feels. And, the Lions are in there too.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I heard it again today where it's, I live in Dallas, obviously, the DFWs, so I know a lot of Cowboys fans. And they're talking about it's time to move on for Dak Prescott. It's time to cut Dak Prescott. And like I understand the logic behind it, but at the same time, like if this were the NBA, the Cowboys would have been blown up and started over at this point.
Hmm.
But in the NFL, I just think that's a lot harder to kind of do. Like it's easier to say that in practice than actually in theory, right? Like, or easier to say in theory than actually in practice. Like, because it could take a decade to find a quarterback as good as Dak Prescott.
Yeah, but then
And
at the same time, it's look at the Niners. They did exactly that. They had Garoppolo. They said let's move on, and now they're looking like a contender. It's a big there's a big risk, but there's a big reward as well.
yeah, and it's just so hard because if they draft, they have to nail the rookie pick, right? And
Yeah.
that's about a 50-50, even if even that at this point, nailing a rookie quarterback pick. And then you have to develop him to the point where this defense that you have, this very talented defense, in this window to try and win a championship, that quarterback has to be ready to win in this window, which is even more difficult with a rookie quarterback to be good at that good right away. So I just don't. And then, I mean, you could trade for a Kyler Murray, but is that enough to put you in Super Bowl contention? I don't even know if that moves the needle enough. So I just think it's interesting. They're probably just married into this relationship for a little bit longer, and that's basically what this team's going to be.
Yeah, it seems like that kind of puts you in a consistent playoff tier, but but can you get over the hump is always the question. Let's move on. Let's talk several ways we could go. Let's go Ravens Steelers. This
Yeah.
was I think they said it on the broadcast. You might look at the score and say, "Oh, 17-10, a very normal traditional game." No, this game was one of the weirder games you will ever see. It was very Ravens Steelers. Somehow, some way, these Steelers leading the division. Steelers are the division leaders at 3-2. How do Steelers keep doing this? I mean, it's unbelievable. The Ravens couldn't catch in this game. The Ravens beat themselves consistently, and then the Steelers, when they had to make plays, I'll give credit to Kenny Pickett. He threw the ball up to George Pickens pretty well. George Pickens was able to make the plays, make things happen. Alex Highsmith who now multiple times TJ Watt is getting the credit for picking up Alex Highsmith's forced fumble. Give Alex Highsmith credit. Really good stuff from Pittsburgh at the end there, but really bad stuff from Baltimore throughout.
Yeah, Baltimore played. I didn't think they played terrible, but they played poorly enough to keep Pittsburgh in this game, which is the biggest problem. And yeah, I think I've come around on it. I said Christian McCaffrey was the MVP through 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Watt's the MVP of the league through 5 weeks. I mean, this guy is like, this guy might be responsible for 2 of these 3 wins. I mean, it wasn't all him in this week, but it feels like he's almost solely responsible for half of this team's production at times. And obviously they have other good defensive players. Like you said, Highsmith has had a fantastic start to the season.
Poor Alex Highsmith. Obviously, you got to give Alex Highsmith his credit too. Yeah, whatever. But TJ Watt.
I mean, TJ Watt's better.
He is. He's better. No, he is. But Alex Highsmith's the clutch guy. He's the closer.
He came up with the big play at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's a couple things I want to bounce off this. Like, when I said in the offseason Pittsburgh could be a sleeper, and it comes down to, can George Pickens kind of turn into a star? This is the kind of game we need to see consistently week in and week out. And This is the kind of thing that's going to turn him into a star in this league. I mean, he was unguardable in this game. He beat everybody in this game, and he had consistent success. He had the biggest play of the game offensively. It was all big stuff from him. And then, I mean, even with all that, I still say, doesn't it feel like Baltimore lost this game more than Pittsburgh won it?
100%. And I think that to some degree, it's like, and while I'm making the Alex Highsmith jokes, it is worth mentioning TJ Watt was literally triple teamed on that play. So that gave Alex Highsmith the one-on-one matchup that allowed him to get the play. So yeah, that's a factor. I just think it's something where, like, I do think that having a pass rush like that frustrates quarterbacks. Because, like, Lamar's, I thought actually he wasn't the problem in this game. Actually, he had a fine day. His receivers can't catch what he's supposed to do. Still that pick at the end, though, towards the end, the one that when they were up 3 or up 2, and because that changed the dynamic of the game. Because yes, Pittsburgh got a touchdown, but they got a touchdown because Baltimore was going all out to try to stop them from gaining yards at like the 40-yard line. So who knows what happens if they put 3 more on the board there? But it's perfect. It's like when you're getting hit all day, you're getting frustrated all day. Like, it forces you into doing some dumb stuff. And, like, that's not quantifiable. I'm an analytics guy. I like to talk about what's on paper. Like, that is a factor, I think.
Yeah. It definitely felt like a factor because, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of mishaps in this game, and Baltimore seemed like it had many chances to put this game away and didn't take advantage. And then all of a sudden, Pittsburgh scores 14 points in the fourth quarter and takes this one. So I mean, I don't want to take it away from Pittsburgh. I do feel like this should be a huge letdown for Baltimore losing this game. But Pittsburgh also made some big plays at the end of this game to win it too, right? Like they made huge plays towards the end that got them to victory. So they should feel great about themselves, even though I still think there's a ton of problems. I still think this offense is kind of a mess when I watch it outside of when they throw it up to George Pickens. And, I still think those are issues, but they're 3-2. And like you said, top of the division. So there's nothing really to complain about.
Yeah, there's still things to complain about with Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Trust me, there still are. I mean, they stole this game. They completely stole this game. Give them credit. They made those plays, but this was for sure a stolen game.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. I did.
But at the same time,
was good, like you said.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but at the same time, how often do we say this about Pittsburgh? They just do it. I don't know what it is.
It's Mike Tomlin, man. That magic must be.
I suppose so. Lamar wasn't the issue, but again, it's this. I also going back to the interception. It's like you're hoping Odell can win in a one-on-one spot, and he can't. Like they still can't beat man coverage. This team still can't beat man coverage, and I don't know. I want to believe in this Ravens team because they are fun to watch when things work. But I don't know. Are they the AFC Dallas Cowboys?
AFC Dallas Cowboys. They definitely don't have as much notoriety. They don't get talked about as much, but I mean, it certainly begs the question, like they drop silly games like this. They drop games like this in the playoffs. At what point do we kind of give up on asking them to be what they are? If they can't win these big games, when do we start expecting them to win?
Yeah. Oh, we have a super chat by the great Overlap 618. This is Overlap. Did you miss me or think I died? I want to hear if Belichick needs to retire. He does. Does this finish the debate on Tom versus Bill? That's been over for a minute. And how will the Patriots draft a quarterback in the spring? Stay tuned. This and more tonight. Thank you, Overlap 618.
Thanks, Overlap. Felt good about reading that.
Yeah. Rough day for Baltimore sports.
Yeah, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
They get rocked at home. Baseball. I mean, we don't need to pile on them. It's been rough. We feel for you guys a little bit. So maybe they bounce back in game 3.
Yeah, maybe so. Romeo says OS laughing crying emojis in the chat.
You guys leave me alone, all right? Look, I'm trying to provide you guys some entertainment, trying to bum me out. What are we doing here?
I think let's hold off on the Saints Patriots. Let's drag this out. Let's talk about another thing that's probably gonna bum you out. Texans Falcons, you locked up the Texans, the underdog Texans, and I was like, okay, great lock. And to be honest, the Texans felt like the better team in this one. They couldn't, but at the end of the day, what you do in the red zone is where a lot of games are won and lost, and the Falcons did move the ball a little better in this one as well. So maybe that's unfair, but I should say Houston had their opportunities to win this one, weren't able to get it done. And how about Desmond Ridder? Easily his best game in the NFL.
Yeah, what the hell happened here? I mean, unbelievable. This guy has the game of his life. He's throwing 9 yards per attempt in this game. Like, what's going on? I mean, this wasn't even just a good performance. This was a great performance. I don't know what happened here. I mean, the Falcons, yards per play, they didn't win in that part. Listen, I mean, I think the Falcons did play well. They gave themselves a chance to win at the end. I thought Ridder was fantastic. I thought, Bijan for a modest running day was really good. They got Kyle Pitts involved. I don't know what happened because we haven't seen this Atlanta offense in 2 years. Like, we've been asking them to use all these guys, and then they decided this is the week they're going to trot all these players out there and actually use them in the offense. Like, Drake London was involved. Kyle Pitts was involved. Bijan Robinson was involved. Like, why did it take this long to decide to do this? That's my question.
Yeah. Also, John, we'll get into that in a second. John, it now appears that Belichick was holding Brady back. Who knows how many Super Bowls he could have had won with a competent coach. That's very true, John. If only he had his Bruce Arians for his whole career.
Uh,
Anyway, moving on to back to the Falcons. Yeah, I mean, Kyle Pitts was making plays, Drake London was making plays, like you said. It was weird because it's like early on, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Falcons looking good because this is kind of where they can play their game. They can do what they want to do. Even if the running game isn't working, they can still run play actions. But then as they needed to get the ball down the field and they needed Ritter to kind of sit back there and push the ball down the field, 14 points in the fourth quarter here. He was able to do that really well. I haven't seen that from Ritter in the NFL, but this is definitely something to really take note of.
yeah, I mean, it was an impressive performance, and we'll see if it's more of a positive trend or if this is just a blip in the radar, because he did play well. He came up big towards the end. We'll see if it continues to happen, because, like you said, he did play great in this game. And then on the other side, like, I thought Stroud similar. Like, it was very much kind of like DJ Stroud's been this year. I thought he missed some throws, but I thought he played well and put his team in a position at the end to win the game. The biggest thing is this team just learns to win football games, because they're clearly not ready to be like good, right? They're solid. And I think being average for the Texans is probably 2 steps forward than I expected this season, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was a bit of a bummer of a loss. I think it felt like one going in you felt like you could get a victory on, and you had it also at the end there. Just Atlanta was able to drive down and sort of take it from you. But right, like Stroud had that big drive to give his team the lead in the fourth quarter. That was very good. There was plenty of positive takeaways in the grand scheme of things, but obviously in the short term, you're disappointed about the loss.
Yeah. Can't go 1-3 in the red zone. That's basically what it came down to, too. I mean, they weren't efficient down there. They had to settle for 4 field goals. They got the touchdown at the end. They gave them the lead, but they also could have put this game away in the first half with a couple touchdowns. They've settled for 9-7, and you could have easily said this was 17-7. And if they're up double digits, how does that change this game?
Yeah, completely agree. Are you back on the Falcons bandwagon here?
I mean, to do what? Like,
To potentially win the division, win the NFC South.
I mean, I think it's possible. Like, there's still not a lot separating those teams. So I still, based on what we've seen to start this year, I would probably put Tampa first, and they are in first in the division record-wise. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question New Orleans or Atlanta can win that division if something goes their way.
Yeah, I think you could argue New Orleans should be first after what they were able to do. Let's do it. Let's talk about it, Kyle. I mean, your team is really bad at football. This is not a good football team. Mac Jones is not good at football, and your superstar Hall of Fame coach getting a lot of heat right now.
As he should. He should be on the hot seat. I think the issue is that, the whole Belichick shtick has been that the depth in the sum will be greater than, or the whole will be greater than the sum of its parts, right? This is a 53-man roster. We build for 53, and that's how we win football games. The depth in this team sucks. Like, it just straight up sucks. Like, look at the players on this offensive line. We are playing Valerian Lowe, who up until this season, I had no idea played football. And this guy has been our right tackle for multiple weeks now with Riley Reef out. Antonio Mafi has tried to play guard and City So at times, because Cole Strange and Michael Onyenwu haven't been healthy. Those guys aren't ready to play. You go through, this receiving core is not good. They're not open at all. None of these guys are open. Our best player probably at receiver has been Demario Douglas at times, and he doesn't get on the field. He doesn't get on the field enough. They take him out after he makes one big catch. And then he got hurt in this game because Marshawn Lattimore just decides he can just beat the crap out of every receiver he plays and somehow gets away with it. He did get flagged in this game for it, but just took a total forearm to the head of the guy. Whatever. But, there's no good receivers. They're not running the ball well. They don't have an offensive line. And then guess what? When the defense, you take away their 2 best defensive players in Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez, and honestly, if you're going to rank defensive players 3 and 4, it might be Jack Jones and Marcus Jones, who are both on IR too. And when you take all those guys out, this is just straight up not a good defense anymore. You can't cover, you can't rush the passer. So it's all bad. You don't have the depth on this team that you You allege to try and build, and this is why you don't go and get stars. You don't pay stars star money, is because you want to build this depth. And then the depth never works out. And yeah, I mean, Mac Jones is bad. Mac Jones is going to lose his job.
Yeah.
But, I continue to say, what quarterback is winning in this situation? What quarterback is winning with Vidarian Lowe, Antonio Mafi, and this poo-poo platter of wide receivers? Like, who is doing that? Nobody's doing that with this team. And it sucks for Mac because he's been terrible. And, I feel bad for the guy because, the guy, this is hardly the guy we watched his rookie year. This is a shell of the person we watched his rookie year. And yeah, I mean, the schedule got soft at the end of the rookie season, but this is the guy in his rookie year made the Pro Bowl and made the playoffs. And now he's lost all of his confidence. It seems like he's lost his ability and regressed in that part, and he doesn't have talented players to throw to. This is a total mismanagement of the system from top to bottom. So Bill Belichick should be on the off seat. I wouldn't be upset if he's fired after this game alone. So
Wow.
there should be questions about it. He's not playing. There's blatant plays in these games that he's just missing. We had a 4th down at the 43-yard line, 4th and like 2, and he punted for 27 yards of field position in a 24-0 game. There was a play that Kyle Duggar posted online that was a clear interception. He didn't challenge it. He doesn't challenge. He doesn't, use 4th down management properly. What exactly does Bill Belichick do effectively anymore? Not coach football games, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, even like special teams, which is like always his thing. Currently ranked last in DVOA. This, the defense isn't like they're blowing coverages defensively. Like I'm with like this is all the things that he's supposed to be good at. He's been terrible at, and we already know he's terrible at the rest of it. So I mean, this is why when we did our coaching rankings, I think I had him like 16th or something like that. Is because it's like I mean, this is Bill Belichick is an amazing coach. Everyone who wants to say it was Brady, no, it wasn't. Or not, no, it wasn't. But like, why didn't no? There's been other quarterbacks who have gotten similar success that Brady has had in terms of their play on the field. No one has even come close to the success that Belichick and Brady had together throughout that 20-year period. Clearly, Belichick had a huge role in the Patriots dynasty. The game has passed them by, though, and it's time to move on.
Yeah. Let him go coach the Chargers or something. He can go get the wins record there. That's fine with me. I just, watching this isn't fun. And, there's people leaving Patriots games in the third quarter. I just think it's a bad football team right now, and it's being poorly coached.
Yeah. Romeo in the chat says, preach. Part of me hopes my Raiders get exposed on Monday. Well, yeah, I mean, it might happen, Romeo, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Could happen. Especially if Devontae doesn't play. I haven't seen an update. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he deserves his name deserves to be brought up and mentioned among the hot seats, without a doubt.
Yeah, there's no way they're firing him in the middle of the season. Just not happening. I think they're going to do. I think at the end of the season, assuming it goes off the rails, we could have a mutually part ways thing. Bailey Zappi came in and did not look any better. I mean, the thing about Mac Jones, I have so much to say about this game. We can't spend forever on it, but like the thing about Mac Jones is he's at his best in a good situation where he can just facilitate. He's in the complete opposite where he has to like Lamar Jackson it to try and figure out ways to get the ball down the field. Like that's just not what he can do. The Saints, this is what they do. Derek Carr, we'll touch on them quickly. They, when they beat a team, they make them look foolish. That's kind of how that's their brand. Derek Carr looked back in this game, I thought, well, he wasn't perfect and did have some issues. He looked actually like Derek Carr again, which is cool to see. Again, New England beat themselves a lot, but he looked very good. Saints are a very good team, frustrating team to play against. But the story of this game is that the Patriots are just, are they in first overall pick conversation?
Yeah, they have to be now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is definitely terrible. Maybe they look a little better against Las Vegas, but I don't know about that. They have to be at this point. The schedule's difficult. There's not a lot of winnable games as it is, and they don't look competitive. I mean, they've lost their last 2 games. What is it now? 72-3. So
yeah,
yeah.
I believe isn't it? So it's sorry to interrupt, but last week was the worst loss of Belichick's career. I believe this is not a second worst. It's also, this is crazy stat, the worst home shutout loss in Patriots history, not just in Belichick era, but period.
Yeah. Patriots had a lot of bad football teams too.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah,
like
this isn't like the Steelers.
they've had a lot of bad football teams throughout their history of the team. So that's saying something. I mean, there's not a lot to look forward to. I mean, this team, they haven't moved the ball, like just straight up haven't. I mean, there's nothing to look forward to. There's not a single thing to look forward to about this team.
Yeah. It's it's a little. What do you? Because even like usually you look forward to your like rookies. I'm like, oh, Christian Gonzalez. Oh no, he's hurt. You like, yeah, your best players are hurt. This is it's a tough. I don't know. Watch some college football. That's what you look forward to.
Yeah, I'll start scouting quarterbacks. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe Zappy is able to make something happen. We will
I don't think
see.
so.
I don't think so either. How about the Indianapolis Colts?
What it is.
In the AFC South, Colts find a way to win. Gardner Minshew somehow over 10 yards per attempt in this one as he comes in relief. And apparently, he's just like the best relief quarterback of all time. Like, should teams start using Gardner Minshew like a closing pitcher?
Yeah, just start putting him in the second half of games. I mean, it might be
Yeah.
possible.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. I mean, he was really good in this game too. It's the funny thing. I mean, he was fantastic. I had Zach Moss on the bench of my fantasy team. That was annoying.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I still ended up winning. Thankfully to Devon Achane, as we're going to talk about. But yeah, Colts played well. Colts have a big division win. Colts are on top of this division, are tied with Jacksonville. But still, I mean, they did a lot of good things in this one. They bottled up Derrick Henry, which after last week, we were probably saying Derrick Henry's back. They bottle him up. They're able to throw the ball. They throw the ball effectively. Josh Downs looks like a player in this game. I mean, if they're able to pair him with Pittman and a little bit of Alec Pierce action, that's a little bit of a passing game with this two-headed running approach. So yeah, lot to feel good about with this Colts team right now. They look in sync and they're humming. The big thing with them is Anthony Richardson's got to take some sliding lessons.
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming a thing. I mean, he's constantly getting banged up. Yeah, we gotta talk. I mean, Jonathan Taylor came back and played in this game after getting a big extension. So good job by him. Sit outs don't always work, but it worked out in his case. But it was Zach Moss who went off to 165 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Taylor just had 18 yards on 6 carries. Although again, getting in football shape, you don't expect a lot from him right away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean. The Colts are an interesting team. I don't know how good they are. It's also just perfect that the AFC South is still 500. I think that's gonna be the record every week. I think they're gonna go 2-2 every week. But yeah, I mean, they were able to, for two teams, I think, kind of pride themselves on being very similarly built. Go build through the trenches, run the ball well, and just be consistent across the board. For Tennessee, I mean, I don't know. The Colts kind of look better in Tennessee in just about every aspect. Looked better throwing the football. The only thing that the Titans did better was DeAndre Hopkins was all the way back in this one.
Yeah. Tannehill's best offense was throwing the ball to Hopkins for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. They threw the ball well. They ran the ball well. They looked better on the line of scrimmages. They looked better in the secondary. I mean, they looked like a better football team top to bottom. Now, granted, it was only a touchdown difference, but I mean, they looked very good in this game. So that was an impressive win for Indianapolis. And this Tennessee team continues to not make sense. Like, are they just going to dominate teams at home and lose all their road games? Like,
no, that's not how this works. No, 5-game sample size now is not enough.
It is going to be that. They're gonna somehow beat the Ravens and Falcons, lose to the Steelers, Bucks, Jags. I mean, this is happening. How great would this division be if half the teams are 9-8 and the other half are 8-9 by the end of the year?
Please let that happen.
Or like you said, 8-1. Everyone's 8-1.
Yeah, they both tie each other. They each have a tie against someone else in their division. That's how that works. The Colts play the Jaguars next week. I mean, that's a real, because I think a lot of people are still like, okay, Colts, it's been a good start to the year, but our priors were kind of like, you're probably not going to be great to start this year. We're still a little bit concerned. If you can beat Jacksonville next week, then people will admit you're legit.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of a big game because they lost to Jacksonville already too, right? And
Hmm.
as of right now, these two teams are in the driver's seat for this division. And you have a potential to take not just a 1 but a 2-game lead depending on how the schedule breaks next week. So, yeah, this could be a big game. If Jacksonville goes 2-0 against Indianapolis and these two teams are fighting for the division race, that could be huge.
Yeah. Well, why don't we go there then? Why don't we stick with the AFC South and talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars playing at home to the Buffalo Bills in London as kind of definitely a weird game. The
This game was
Bill,
not fun for like 50 minutes, I got to say.
yeah, this is the kind of game. This is the ideal London game where like you wake up at you turn on the TV on the East Coast, you start watching at like I don't know 11, like turn it on then. That's like kind of the
Yeah,
perfect way to do it. It's just a way to start the day. You go get lunch after and then watch football all day.
yeah. It definitely felt that way. I I don't, there's no way to quantify it or anything like that, but I felt like the travel advantage in the first half played a significant factor. The
Hmm.
Bills looked sleepy in this game to start, and then they kind of got going a little bit towards the end, but it was a little too late and too little too late at that point. And I thought, I even thought there was points for the Jaguars to like really put this game away early, and they really just couldn't sustain anything offensively outside of those two scoring drives, and kind of kept Buffalo in until late. But yeah, I mean, interesting game. I thought Trevor Lawrence played well, and Jags were able to pull that one out.
Yeah, this game was 11-7 after 3 quarters. Buffalo scored 13 in the fourth. Jacksonville scored 14. Allen had some great drives at the end there. Some people were saying, "Oh, it's garbage time." It wasn't really. Like there was still a chance they could come back and win. Like I don't
Mhm.
think Jacksonville was trying to give up yards there. They weren't in prevent defense or anything. It was that was good stuff. But I don't know. I mean, we can say the jet lag. Maybe it's possible. I do think it's worth mentioning they traveled like a week ago. Like it's not like they traveled yesterday to get there. Like this is
Yeah.
like it's been a minute now. But also the I just I think another aspect is like I don't know. This is just what the Bills do. Maybe there's an excuse this week, but this is just kind of who they are. Is they're very up and down, and also Matt Milano has a big key injury now. That's like they're really injured in their defense. Although it wasn't the defense that was the main issue here.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the whole thing about, Bills have figured out their running game, maybe a little premature.
Hmm.
So they obviously didn't run the ball well in this game. That played a part. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just felt weird because it felt like at times Jacksonville dominated the game. And if you looked at, I think, the yards per play, they kind of did. But then it's like the Bills get the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win. So,
Hmm.
the Jags ran, what is it here? I mean, they ran like 30 more plays
The Giants.
in or the Jags, sorry. The
Okay.
Jags ran like 30 more plays and, almost had a chance to win it, and still weren't and did well on third down. I mean, they did all this stuff well and almost lost the game too, which is the weird thing.
Yeah, I agree. It almost it did feel like maybe this. Kind of thought it was going to happen at a certain point until
Yeah.
there was that ETN who we had mentioned him the 136 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, pair of touchdowns. He had one towards the end where it's like he just went into the crowd of people and like okay Derek, and he somehow got out of it and got a touchdown. Just one of those days. And Calvin Ridley had a big day as well. So the players that needed to show up for Jacksonville needed to show up. Trevor Lawrence looks really good. This could have been a bigger win, but at the end of the day, you're not complaining about only beating the Bills by 5. You beat the Bills, you're happy.
Yeah. How's Trayvon Walker watch going?
I wasn't watching him too closely. I did hear him when his name was mentioned, which wasn't too often. He did recover that fumble at the end, so maybe that's his role is to recover the lateral fumble play at the end.
Well, if TJ Watt's going to get all the credit, maybe he gets some credit too.
Yeah,
Come
well, why
on.
doesn't he get? He did what TJ Watt did.
Yeah, come on, man.
I don't
Um,
believe he was triple teamed on that play the way TJ Watt was on his play.
yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Not great stuff from Trev. Maybe they should have had Aiden Hutchinson. Could have helped.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, is like this Jaguars team, like they've shown they can play at this level, right? Like I mean, Do you
Have
think this
they?
team could win multiple playoff rounds?
I'm trying to think because like, what's their biggest? I mean, they beat the Chargers in the playoffs. To me, that feels like the biggest win they've had. They came close to Kansas City, but Kansas also Mahomes was hurt in that game, so I don't know how much credit you give. I'm trying to think of what their biggest. Well, I guess they did hang with the Chiefs in this season as well. So I mean, they have that.
They
I
had a
don't know.
shot to win that Chiefs game, and I
They've
mean,
had
you look
yeah.
at and I mean they played with this, they beat this Buffalo team obviously and moved the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it out of the question to think they can make the AFC title game, or maybe even upset somebody there, or is that still too much to ask?
I think if Lawrence plays like he does today, they can do that. But I think that we still need. I think their ceiling is sky high for sure. But I still don't know if I would put them as like favored to make it over, some other teams in the AFC. Like
Yeah,
I
I
still
don't
think
think they'd be. They're not the favorites to me. I agree.
I still think I put Miami ahead of them. I still think I put Buffalo ahead of them, even with Buffalo's loss today. I put Kansas City ahead of them, and then I think the conversation starts at 4. But even that, I'm still not giving up on Cincinnati because I'm the one person that's crazy and thinks that they still might be good. I think you could argue that they're number 4 though.
Would you take them over Baltimore right now?
It's a, to me they're I feel just as good about both of them.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think I would too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, and the Bills they gotta stop this. They gotta stop being so inconsistent, but they're never going to be. So it's like, how do
No.
you? Because that's part of my thing with the Bills too. It's like, it just feels like this is going to happen, right? Like, can they go 4 games in a row without doing this in the playoffs? I just don't know if they can.
Yeah, and it's not even like you can blame Josh Allen's inconsistencies anymore.
Well, you
He
can.
was I mean, at times, yeah, but he was great in this game. I thought at times too. So, I don't think this game was anywhere near on him.
But
I
isn't
thought
that exactly the thing? Josh Allen was great at times.
Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, like, I don't think he was.
No, he
I don't
wasn't the
think his
problem.
mistakes led to this loss or anything like that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, with the injury, no, I don't think so. But with the injuries to the defense now, he might need to be, play like he did last week because he did have, that interception wasn't great, but yeah, I agree, it wasn't on him. Let's move on. Why don't we? Well, we brought him up, so let's just go there. This isn't the game of the week or anything, but Bengals Cardinals. As for a second, so I locked up Cincinnati. They jump up 10-0 early in the first quarter. I'm like, all right, here we go. Bengals are back. All of a sudden, these scrappy Cardinals start coming back. There was a play where they get a goal line stand for against Cincinnati when they were, I believe they were winning at that point. They were winning 14-10. Get the goal line stand. Everyone's going crazy. Cardinals are going to do it. Pick 6 immediately after, which gives the Bengals the lead, and then Jamar Chase in the second half. The Bengals offense still feels pretty much like, let's just throw it up to Jamar Chase and hope good things happen. The thing is, that's still a pretty good offense.
Yeah, it definitely helps when you can have a receiver go 15 receptions, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is a pretty good line for a day, I would say, for a wide receiver. I mean, he was excellent in this game. He was the best player for either team on either side of the ball. It wasn't particularly close. I thought he was awesome. He changed the game, and he had a couple big plays that really changed the motives of this game. And for all those concerns about the Bengals offense, they still have this in their back pocket. That 63-yard touchdown to Jamar Chase was by far the longest play for the Bengals of the season. I looked it up today because I kept talking about it and I wanted to verify. That was their 5th big play. That's a big pass play of over 20 yards or more. That was their 5th big pass play of the season and the longest by far. The next longest play prior to that was a 43-yard pass to Jamar Chase. The Bengals had 54 explosive plays last year in the passing game.
Gotcha.
And they have 5 through 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's still not fixed, but it was significantly better. So that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I still thought there were issues in this game, especially sort of the middle. They slumped a little bit. They play Seattle next week, which is an interesting game for a lot of reasons. And I think that they definitely, they're thrilled of how Josh Dobbs played because Dobbs did not play great. When I locked up Cincinnati, you were like, I don't know, might be a big Rondell Moore game. He did make some plays, had 3 rushes for 50 yards, so that helped out. But in the battle of who was going to have the bigger day of Jamar Chase or Rondale Moore, turned out Jamar Chase had the bigger day.
Yeah, he's a little bit better, I'd say. But
Rondale
it
Moore,
was
26 receiving yards.
yeah, I mean, it was a good day for Moore, but not
Sure.
quite 192 receiving yards. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it did look like a different class of opponent at the end of the day, but I mean, we've seen this Arizona team hang with a lot of teams, so beating them by double digits, I'd say, is a good win. But yeah, I mean, there's still going to be plenty of things to work out. This team isn't nearly what we've seen in years, last season. So I think you could feel better about yourself if you're the Bengals. Like you said, this is a big game coming up, but I mean, this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Negan points out on the chat, Kyle, you owe Jackson $1. That's right, you did owe me. You owe me $1 now because Rondale Moore did not get 150 total yards.
Oh man, take it out of my paycheck.
Okay, well, I'll do that. Maybe we'll make a $1 bet in the future, see if we can win it back. Yeah. A good day for the Bengals. Cardinals kind of this is who they are. Cardinals. I don't know. Cardinals are definitely a number 1 overall pick team.
They're in contention. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are plucky. That's the best way I can put them, right? Like they look competitive, and I think that's a huge accomplishment because this isn't a talented football team. But they're still going to win like 3 or 4 games at most. So, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. The Jets and the Broncos played today, the Nathaniel Hackett Bowl, as this was a game that kind of had a storyline to it. Because I feel like a lot of interesting games. I don't know if there's a lot of interesting storylines this week. This was an interesting storyline, as obviously Sean Payton said that last year might have been one of the worst coaching jobs of all time with Nathaniel Hackett. Turns out maybe that was a prediction for this year, as this has just been a complete disaster for the Broncos. Russell Wilson's been fine, kept fumbling the football in this one. That's not ideal. The Broncos lost 3 fumbles in this one. And I mean, that was in many ways the difference. Zach Wilson looking decent, looking playable, which is, Kyle, I put out a poll on Twitter saying, who would you rather have, Zach Wilson or Mac Jones? A lot of people said they'd rather kill themselves, which is, I feel like a bit dramatic. I think I would rather have one of the quarterbacks than be dead. But Zach Wilson did win the poll.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely wasn't the better Wilson today. But, I think the biggest development is, I don't know what happened before the Chiefs game and in this one, but someone apparently got through to him that he's actually allowed to throw to his running backs. And I think that's been a huge step in the right direction for Zach Wilson. He doesn't have to throw the ball 30 yards downfield every play. So being able to use those running backs and tight ends, I think, has been a big thing for him. But yeah, I mean, so it was a little less mistake-free football for him. And I think that's, like you said, that's a huge step in the right direction, even if it's not perfect. And, he didn't actively prevent his team from winning games. And that's a huge step forward, I would say.
Yeah. Breece Hall was obviously a huge factor in this. 177 rushing yards, had a long touchdown that obviously bumps up the stats, 8 yards per carry. So, that's good. I mean, the Jets are the Jets at this point. We kind of know what they can do. And I guess the Broncos are the Broncos. This is, the interesting thing is obviously the Nathaniel Hackett stuff. Nathaniel Hackett looked very happy on the sideline. I feel like he was not showing anything, not trying to show anything, but he seemed, the guys were sort of, dapping him up and stuff on the sideline. He seemed like he was having a good time.
We need some more animosity in this league. Like, he should just run up and punch Sean Payton in the face.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been how it ended.
What was it, Jim Schwartz and Jim Harbaugh yelling at each other after that game that one time?
That sounds like those two, so that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, just just getting a big fist fight at the end. 2 coaches just brawling. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I think the Jets deserved the win in this game. I thought they played well. I thought they created a lot of havoc defensively too. And then I thought Russell Wilson did play pretty well and made some big plays down the stretch. But you can't throw the ball to the sidelines. Whatever that last fumble was. Russell Wilson can't play normal games. That's the biggest thing I've come. Like, everyone said it was a Seattle thing. I think it's just a Russell Wilson thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it was Seattle can't have a normal game, And then he goes to Denver. They lost like 6 games by a total of 7 points last year. And then this year, they had a 17-16 loss where they only had 6 possessions of offense. They blew a 21-3 lead. They had the 70-point game. They had to come back against the Bears. And then they had whatever the hell this Jets game was today. Like, this team can't – Russell Wilson can't play normal games. That's the problem.
No, he cannot. This Denver team, and he's also getting, again, people keep saying, are they going to move off of him? They're stuck with him for a couple of years, like at the very least. Like in a contract, I mean, maybe you can move off of him, but you're going to be paying him for the next couple of years regardless. They, will have a high draft pick, it seems. I don't know. Just what a mess. I still feel like, Kyle, I still think the Sean Payton trade was the right trade. I still think the Russell Wilson trade was the right trade. It didn't work out.
Yeah, they went all in on this stuff. They gave it a shot. It didn't work out. They're going to have to reboot this. I don't think Sean Payton's a terrible coach either. Obviously, the situation's not going well. But that also has to do with you're paying a quarterback $240 million who's probably, the 15th best quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah. So
that makes it harder to build a good team. But yeah, I mean, those things kind of just matter.
Yeah. Interesting to see where these two teams go from here. Let's move on. Let's talk Chiefs Vikings. Why don't we? There's some intrigue here, as the story for a minute was the Travis Kelce injury, where it looked bad. He went down without contact. I think it's still what Tony Romo said was that sometimes these injuries happen where you tape it up, play that game, but then miss a few weeks after, and they play on Thursdays. So how's that going to work? Kyle, there's a very funny tweet that was going around of a big Taylor Swift fan who was upset about the Travis Kelce injury, and then was calling out the NFL of why you need to stop playing on artificial turf because that causes injuries and hurt Travis Kelce, which is hurting Taylor Swift. So perhaps these Swifties are going to finally get the end of artificial turf.
How fucking stupid is this? I mean,
did you think that this phrase in this season, will the Swifties get rid of artificial turf, would come out of my mouth at some point?
No. I've about had enough of Swifties talking football, honestly. But, whatever. We welcome all of our new NFL fans. That's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this football game that actually happened.
Yeah.
I do agree with that Tony Romo sentiment, having sprained my ankle. You kind of play through it, and then even just taking your shoe off and your foot expands a foot, and then it just feels completely different after that. So I understand that. I don't know if I would have put him back in the game, but
yeah.
It's still you still got the win. He made the big catch at the end too, so that all worked. Yeah, I mean, I still kind of feel the same way about this Chiefs that I felt before this game. I don't think everything's working, but they're winning football games and this defense is playing well. So I guess I can't complain about it too much.
I thought Mahomes was really good in this one. I know that his stat line wasn't great. I thought he was really good. Travis Kelce made the play, so they needed him. I don't know if they win this game without him coming back in. I agree. I don't think I would have put him back in, but I don't think they win this game without him with what he was able to do. We got to talk about the controversy. We got to talk about the a situation which was, usually I'm don't blame the refs. Mistakes happen and it is what it is. Luck's a part of the game. This was a frustrating scenario where first they pick up a flag for pass interference because they deemed it uncatchable. From what I saw, and sometimes the broadcast angle can be misleading, I will say that, it didn't look totally uncatchable from, I've seen, usually if uncatchable is without a shadow of a doubt, it's uncatchable, not that. Also, to me, the much more damning thing, so L'Jarius Sneed takes his helmet off to argue with the official. The official then tells him to put his helmet back on and doesn't throw the flag, which is not how you do that. That's not how football works. While it was on 4th down, so the Chiefs would have still gotten the ball, it would have affected field position, which was, and also just the principle of it I didn't like.
Yeah. You have to enforce the rule there, right?
Yeah.
You can't just say put your helmet back on. And even Kevin O'Connell was basically screaming for them to call the flag on.
Right. Yeah, he was on it right away. That's what he was mad at. He wasn't mad at the pass interference. He was mad at the helmet thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think the that obviously is a mistake from the referee because it's a
Mhm.
penalty. You can tell them all you want, but it's a penalty, and the rule has to be enforced. Don't have the rule if you don't want to enforce it. You know,
Right. It's not your
um,
decision to make. You don't get to choose
right,
to what rules to enforce and what rules to not.
right. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's a mistake, and that should have been called.
Mhm.
Um, for their explanation of it being uncatchable, I don't agree with because I think there's a lot more egregious uncatchable balls that are still
Mhm.
enforced as pass interference. I just straight up didn't think it was pass interference. So I wasn't too mad about the flag being picked up because I didn't think it
Mhm.
was really a good call.
Mhm.
He was kind of just guiding him down the sideline. I don't think he was forcing him out of bounds or anything. So I didn't think it was a good call to begin with. So I wasn't that upset about it. But their explanation was crap. They could just say we didn't think it was pass interference.
Yeah, if it wasn't thrown, I would have been like fine. But like the fact that it was enough, because like I thought it was, but I think it's in the gray area. You could argue. I think reasonable minds can differ, but like the catchable. But at the end of the day, the ref threw the flag. The ref deemed it was enough for pass interference. It got picked up because of the uncatchable part, which I thought was just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bizarre part of it. I didn't agree with that. And I mean, you can even argue on that same play that Cousins got hit high on the throw. Like, so
Hmm.
there was a whole lot of layers to this play
Yeah.
alone that were so impactful. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was pass interference, so I wasn't too mad. But yeah, if they're pinned back inside their own like 10-yard line, that's a huge thing for this game.
The Vikings fumbled early in this game. They love the fumble. They're a big fumble team.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it crazy that all of a sudden, maybe losing a bunch of, the one score thing just keeps, now it's on the other side, you know?
It's unbelievable. They're 0-4 now in one score
Yeah.
games.
It's you know, maybe karma's real. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some sort of football god out there. I don't know.
Perhaps they do. Man, what did the Vikings do to piss them off? Justin Jefferson did get banged up in this game. And listen, I'll say this too. People love to say the Chiefs get all the calls. I don't know. My theory on this has always been same with the Patriots when they always get. You look at across every sport, it's always the best teams that get all the calls, and it's like, okay, I don't think it's because you get the calls that you're winning. I think it's because teams, people don't like you. So there's the bias of, rooting against you. You're going to be more mad at a call. And B, those are the teams that win. So like when the Patriots would win a close game, like when a Tucker rule happened for the Patriots, they then came back and won the game and made that bad call matter. If you're a good team, you're going to make bad calls matter more. I don't think the Chiefs get more bad calls than other teams do. Maybe they do a little because, again, there is a superstar call element to it. But I also think that it's just they make the bad calls matter more than other teams do.
Yeah. Don't say that to Golden State Warriors fans. They think like defenses basically take a chair to the back of Steph Curry every time he touches the ball. So, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Gotcha. Sorry, I don't always get all the references, but I'm doing my best here, Kyle.
It's all good. I just,
Mhm.
Draymond Green gets to run around and just clobber people, but
All right.
anytime
Yeah.
Steph's breathed on, the Warriors are being cheated. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. 4 games left. Let's go Eagles Rams. Here where the Rams kept it competitive for a bit. The Eagles did kind of go, run away with this one.
Uh-huh.
Literally with Jalen Hurts with he was their leading rusher with 72 yards, and they still ran the ball well. Swift had 70 yards. Kenneth Gainwell didn't do a lot, but it wasn't like they weren't running the ball effectively at all. AJ Brown 127 yards. He's having a good season. We saw Cooper Kupp come back, and turns out him and Nakua can both play well. Nakua 71 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp 118 yards. Unfortunately, though, really it was mostly just the Eagles just kept these long methodical drives down the field. Like I didn't even think the Rams offense was like bad in this one, despite only 14 points. Just like when you don't get the ball, only so much you can do.
Yeah. 78 plays to 55 plays. Time of
Mm-hmm.
possession was 15 minutes in Philadelphia's favor. This is what the Eagles do. They're going to suck I said I kind of like the upset in this game, but I also knew that there's an opportunity that the Eagles just sucked the life out of this game. That's what they did. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Jalen Hurts has been awesome the last 2 weeks. I thought there was some questions about Philadelphia's offense the first 3 weeks of the season. I didn't think everything looked in sync. I think the last 2 weeks he's been terrific. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The last 2 weeks, they seem to remember Dallas Goedert's on their team this week, which was a big thing. So yeah, things are humming in Philly. This looked significantly better, and I thought the defense played well. Jalen Carter continues to impress on his way to a defensive rookie of the year, and yeah, everything looks great for Philly right now.
Yeah, Carter had a pair of sacks in this game, so definitely helping build that case. I mean, kind of talk about like it just feels like it's going to be Eagles 49ers in the conference championship. It's still a lot of
Yeah.
time left. Every year there's a team through 5 weeks we think is a contender and then falls off, or a team that we don't think is a contender that comes back and is able to do well. But that's just how it feels right now, and I honestly don't know who would win that game. I mean,
Yeah.
Eagles are really good. We had more tush push controversy in this one as they were able to continue to convert it. I mean, listen, it is what it is. They came up with a strategy. They're going to make it work. You can't change it this year. That wouldn't be fair to them. Like, it's a fair play. Like, I think, I'm in favor of banning several things that I think other people wouldn't be. I'm in favor of banning the quarterback sneak because I think it's a boring play in a big spot. Like, it is annoying when it's like a 3rd down and 1 or a 4th down and 1 and you see them just go up for the tush push, and then like it's like, oh, okay, well, it's just not as exciting. You want to see the quarterback back with no, you want to see the quarterback throw the ball.
Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I'm not too upset about it. I don't think it's going to get banned. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It feels like it is going to be 2 teams, and the interesting thing is I think there's pretty big discrepancies between both sides, right? Like, I still even in this game. I still question Philadelphia's ability to cover, honestly. I thought their defensive line got after it in this game, and that was ultimately why the Rams stalled in the limited amount of possessions that they did have. But, when they had time to drop back and throw, now granted, with Kupp and Nakua, this is all of a sudden a really good receiving core.
Yeah.
So this is a tough matchup. But, if they played San Francisco, I think San Francisco can get after this secondary. But I also think this Eagles defensive line can get after some of the 49ers offensive line at times. So that'd be an interesting matchup. Looking forward to that game and then maybe a rematch in the playoffs. And then, I mean, as you said, I think this Philadelphia team looks fantastic. It looks like a 2-headed race at the top. And I think the Rams are a playoff team. I thought they, proved a little bit, even if they, kind of got outlasted in this game.
Yeah, the Rams look good. I mean, they really do. I mean, it's they still have some tough games on their schedule, but they play Arizona next week. So the frustrating thing about the Rams is their record. They're currently 2-3. Like that's what sucks about it. But you look at their losses. The 49ers, the Bengals was a winnable game. They weren't able to get done. Now the Eagles. I mean, those are 3 to 4 teams. Basically, every team that played in the conference championship that didn't win the Super Bowl. That's who they played and lost to this season. So, the Rams are good. They're just haven't been quite good enough early on, but they could get there.
That's going to be a really annoying team to play in the playoffs, I think. Even if they're like a 6 or 7 seed, and you got to prepare for this Kupp Nakua thing, which is, you got the 2 best receivers of this century, basically. And,
right.
I don't even know how you do you game plan for that.
Yeah. No, that's a tough one. Two good teams. We have 3 games left: the Panthers, Lions, Giants, Dolphins, and the one we're going to next, the Thursday game, Bears, Balls. As what the hell happened to Washington? The Bears are back. Justin Fields is back. Hype is at an all-time high once again. I mean, Justin Fields. This is almost like passing Jameis Winston territory of the discrepancy between his best games and worst games is insane.
Mm-hmm. I mean, back-to-back games with 4 touchdown passes, right? I mean, this guy has all of a sudden come alive, and DJ Moore had a monster game in this game. 230 yards on 8 catches.
He had 230 of Justin Fields' 282 yards.
Yeah. Maybe that's the game plan. Just throw it to him from here on out. Actually, three different guys caught a ball. What was that?
Yeah, I was kind of going where you're going. Of Robert Tonyan, Robert Tonyan had 10 yards, Cole Kmet 42, DJ Moore, and then that was it. No one else had anything.
Yeah. Very bizarre game. I don't know if I trust this Bears offense fully, but at the same time, it's looked a lot better the last 2 weeks, I guess, man. Why not?
Yeah, no, it's been, I don't know. There's good stuff here. This is kind of what we thought. I will say this, the Bears struggled last year early on. There was a point when we said, why does this coaching staff even have Fields play if they're not going to have him? Like we thought that they had given up on him like after the first month last year, and then he kind of came on and looked very good. Like there is positive aspects of Fields' game, and we are seeing that. Granted, I mean, I thought Washington had some bad defense in this one for sure, and I don't know. My comparison for Fields has always been Carson Wentz. Of when he's in a great situation, he looks great. When he's in a terrible situation, he looks terrible. I thought that this was a situation where, Washington benched Emmanuel Forbes at a certain point, and he wasn't even the worst offender because, a lot of times DJ Moore wasn't lined up on him, but it was just they were blowing coverages out there. DJ Moore did make some nice plays. Fields did make some nice reads. Also, there were some issues. So, as a whole, it was really just a tough day for Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Washington had a lot of struggles in this game, so I don't know. I really don't know what to think of this team because, I wasn't really impressed with their first 2 wins, and then I wasn't impressed. Obviously, getting beat 37-3 against the Bills. Wasn't impressed with this game, but they also competed with the Eagles. So like, I think this team has shown it can kind of compete with teams, but I would say 4 of their games have looked unimpressive.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was thinking about this. Like, did they really just have one good game and overhyping them because of that? Because like, really, they're the win against the Broncos. They beat the Broncos by 2 points. Granted, there was that Hail Mary that allowed the Broncos to come back, but still, beat the Broncos by 2 points. They beat the Cardinals by 4 points. They got crushed by the Bills. They got crushed by the Bears, and then they forced the Eagles into overtime in a game that they still had to get a last-second touchdown to come back and tie it. I didn't love what Sam Howell did in this game. I don't know, like, if you're looking at the wild card teams, I can't put Washington above, like, the Rams right now.
I don't think so either. Rams look significantly better.
Yeah.
If we're looking for a 7 team, would you take this team or the Packers?
I think I probably, I don't know. Again, they feel like the same tier for me.
Maybe, yeah.
I do like Washington's defensive line as maybe the better unit. I like the Washington's receivers, so maybe I would still lean Washington. But again, I think Green Bay has higher upside with their quarterback play and everything, so it depends.
Yeah. I mean, Green Bay could look awesome tomorrow night too. So, but it feels like those are kind of. Am I missing somebody? Maybe Atlanta gets lumped in there, or New Orleans, or Tampa, one of the losers there. That's a team for the 7 seed. I mean, all of those teams probably talk themselves into it. I guess I would put Washington in the lower tier of that pecking order, though.
Yeah, because I mean, as of right now, the Eagles, the Niners, and the Lions, we feel pretty good. Those 3 teams are going to win their divisions. The Cowboys and the Seahawks, I think we feel pretty good. Those 2 teams are going to make the playoffs in some capacity. And then it's, who's competing for that 7th spot right now? Washington, you got the LA Rams, you have the Packers. Maybe you could throw the Vikings in there. I don't think I would, but maybe some people would. And then it's the Falcons and Saints, and then the asterisk. It could be Tampa Bay if the Falcons or Saints take that division. So it's like, out of those teams, I think Washington could do it, but I don't know if they're there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know. It'll be 7 will be weird as it gets. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. But kind of fun too. I mean, there's interesting teams there. So, we thought, as it always happens, you start the season like, this doesn't look great, but then some teams step it up. We'll see what they can do. Who's not stepping it up? The New York Giants, who had a game where the scoreboard does not tell the full story. Tua had a couple of turnovers in this one, including a defensive touchdown. So far, the only touchdown scored in the first half through 5 weeks for the Giants is a defensive touchdown, which I think is just perfect, as this game could have gotten way out of hand. Still, the Dolphins, despite the fact that they couldn't stop beating themselves. They lost the turnover battle 3-0 in this game, the Dolphins did, and still covered an 11-point spread.
Yeah, it was bad. Daniel Jones has been sacked 28 times this season in 5 games.
And then got banged up.
His career high is 45 sacks in 14 games. This is brutal. I mean, there's a real chance that, I don't even think Daniel Jones is that good. We've talked about this over and over again. But there's a chance next week, if he's hurt, they're without him, Wan'Dale Robinson, Saquon Barkley and Andrew Thomas. Like, what's left for this team? What is left?
Darren Waller.
He finally had a good game, right? Like,
Well, he had a good game against Arizona too.
that's true. I think we've seen enough Arizona's defense, but he did have a good game in this one. I'll give him that, but it's not consistent enough. I mean, who is their backup quarterback?
Tyrod Taylor, who looked better than Daniel Jones did.
That's true. Yeah.
Also,
I don't know. Go ahead.
Super chat. What team is lapping the NFL by 500 yards? I believe that's referring to the Dolphins totals.
Yeah, they passed the they're on pace to break the most yards in the season or something, right? Is that what
Right? Yeah, I think they have the most yards through 5 games than any other team. Yeah, I mean, look at the yards per play in this game. Giants 3.9, Dolphins 9.7.
9.7. Oh my god. That is insane. I mean, it's crazy watching this team, man. There's just so many fast guys. And what's that?
Sorry, I feel like I'm interrupting a lot, but I saw a tweet that I even retweeted it. The 7 fastest plays, so 7 players who have ran the fastest according to tracking data for for this season, all Miami Dolphins players.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
and it's probably A-Chain and Hill multiple times.
Yeah, I think it might have even just been those 2 guys. I'm not sure if anyone, maybe Waddle got in there, but yeah. Also, it's A-Chan now, not A-Chain.
Since when?
I guess he said that people mispronounce his name. It's A-Chan.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. A-Chan. A-Chan is really good. I have a friend named Chan, so that's going to be weird to say over and over again.
Okay. Well, he's not. He's A-Chan.
Yeah, A-Chan. O-Chan. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, they haven't even had a massive Jalen Waddle game either.
Right.
There's still more for this team to kind of unlock, which is scary. So,
haven't had a massive Chase Claypool game yet.
Just wait for that. If he catches a touchdown, Bears fans are going to lose their mind. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to a lot to look forward to for this Miami team. They are fast. They are talented. They might have a top 10 running back in the league right now.
Yeah.
On top of everything they have in their passing game. Wake Martindale's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Did you see that play?
I did. Yeah. He had a quote, which I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was something along the lines of when his wife asked him if he's sleeping, and he said, "Yeah, I'm sleeping like a baby," as in every 2 hours I'm waking up and crying, thinking about this defense. And it had a valid reason. Wink did.
Yeah, that Tyreek Hill touchdown was just so bizarre because I was watching it, and the Dolphins have trips to the left. Tyreek Hill's on his own to the right, and there's a safety hovering over the top. And I'm like, oh, good, they're double covering Tyreek Hill. That's probably a good idea at this point because he's already well over 100 yards, it felt like, at this point in the game. And then all of a sudden, the safety drops down to cover the running back, and this corner, bless his soul, I don't even know who it is in press coverage against Tyreek Hill with no safety help. And Tyreek Hill just runs right around him, and it was a touchdown. And I'm just like, who designed this defensive play call in the year 2023 against Tyreek Hill? It was most bizarre. It was a 69-yard touchdown out of it. I don't even know what you were trying to accomplish there. I don't know. That was the most bizarre play I've seen today.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, my last thought is A-Chan. He kind of reminds me of remember Kareem Hunt's first year. It feels like that, where he's faster than everybody, but is also in a perfect offense. It feels very much like that.
Yeah. He's got some Chris Johnson twitch to him, man.
Yeah. No, he's great. I believe he made my top 5 running back list this year.
I don't know. I said I liked him, but I don't know. I didn't like him this much.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not taking.
It's just one of those perfect fits too, right?
Yeah.
It's like Kyle Hamilton going to the Ravens. But okay, I was negative on him, and then he goes there, and now I look stupid.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic team. They look like the front runners.
Another fantastic team, the Detroit Lions. Sorry to Lions fans making you wait all the way here. Hey, when you start blowing out more teams, you're going to end up later in the show. It's kind of how it works. As the last game on the list, Jared Goff looks great. The play calling in this one, kind of that's almost the headline with the Detroit Lions, as them and the Niners kind of ran the same trick play
The
here.
same exact play.
Yeah, which was interesting. And it was the same week, so they must just be a coincidence. Apparently, Aiden Hutchinson is like he could be an elite corner if he wanted to, because the guy can't stop getting interceptions. Another interception here after it was a story. He had never had an interception prior to going to the NFL. Had 3 last year, has another this year. Just funny stuff there. I don't know. Lions are very good. The Panthers, again, we saw some flashes for Bryce Young, but it's been a very disappointing start to the year for Bryce Young. Adam Thielen looks good, but other than that, this has been kind of a mess offensively for the Panthers.
Yeah, it's certainly not good enough. Thielen's been a really good pickup, though. I mean, it's really kind of blown my mind. He's been a really good pickup for them, so that's a huge thing. Not only that, the double flea flicker pass for both teams both went to Iowa tight ends. So who said Iowa's offense sucks? Look at this. They're dominating the NFL right now. I
don't think many people say Iowa tight ends suck, though.
That's true. That part of their offense is good.
Yeah.
Ish. I actually closed all my tabs thinking we had talked about all the games, so I had to pull this up. Let's see. So I got a couple notes. Like you said, Thielen has been really good. This Lions offense, like, they got some dudes, man. Like, they didn't even have Amon-Ra in this game, and like Josh Reynolds, I think he just might be good. Like,
yeah,
he just, the last couple of weeks I've been watching this team, and he just makes like some ridiculous catches, and it's like maybe this guy's just a good football player. That touchdown catch was incredible. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to complain about this Detroit offense. This Panthers team's bad. Bryce Young, let's talk about it. How embarrassing is it as an NFL quarterback to be subbed out for QB sneaks?
Yeah, it can't be great. That can't be. That's almost one of those, like, I don't know, rookie year. Isn't it worth it to just have him like go in there even if he struggles?
Like, that's going to be demeaning walking to the sideline. All those defensive players who've been trying to bust their ass this entire season have to watch you sit out for a quarterback sneak, and you're just standing there on the sideline watching the play.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's probably not great.
Yeah, just take the sneak, man. Figure it out. Get a yard.
Well, is it him? I was assuming it was it's coming from Frank Reich, who, I mean, I don't know, he might go one and done here.
Honestly, yeah.
And I also think about, I mean, one thing too is it's just, I don't know. I feel bad for the Panthers because I don't think it was a terrible idea at the time to trade up for Bryce Young, but like, doesn't it almost feel like they just traded the first overall pick in a draft where Caleb Williams is available to get Bryce Young, and they also had to give up another first and DJ Moore? I mean, if the Bears get the first overall pick, select Caleb Williams, and get DJ Moore and another first round pick from it, like, that could go down as one of the greatest trades of all time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, although knowing the Bears, the quarterback's not going to work out for them. But yeah, I mean, this is a this could be really bad. I agree with you. I mean, it could be. I mean, we'll see. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But the Panthers, I mean, I still put them in pole position for the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah,
right now, and I don't think it's particularly close. And yeah, I mean, if they end up giving this pick to the Bears, that's damaging. And maybe Bryce gets better. I'm not completely out on Bryce or anything like that. It's been rough, though. It has been rough.
Yeah, here's what helps them is they do have some winnable games on their schedule. They play the Texans, they play the Bears, they play obviously the entire NFC South, which I think is, not that those teams are like, scrubs or anything, but those are winnable games. So I could see them maybe getting out of first overall pick contention that way. But still, I mean, with all the criticism we gave the Texans for their draft pick or for their trading for Will Anderson, which I still think was not the smart strategy, so far for Carolina, I mean, it's looking like they're the team that gave away a potential first overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks like it's in a bad spot. So we'll see how this plays out. And it's not even like they can trade guys and, like, I guess they could trade and recuperate some extra capital, but at the same time, there's not a lot of incentive to blow it up. There's not a lot of incentive to trade a guy like like if you decided to trade a Brian Burns, you're probably not getting a first round pick for him.
Well, depends on what the Rams are wanting. Weren't they willing to give up 2 like last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so
I don't think it's going for
maybe
that.
I don't know. Give them a call again. That might
Yeah.
be an idea. Maybe Panthers. Maybe that's your plan.
Are you sure?
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah, I think maybe that might be something. Tough spot. But hey, Lions. Yeah, Lions. I mean, there's only 5 teams in the NFL right now that have a record of 4-1 or better. It's the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and Niners, who are both 5-0, and then the Lions.
Yeah. Is Jared Goff on your MVP radar? We mentioned Brock Purdy. I mean, he's 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. I mean, he's played well.
Yeah, well, I brought it up last week, and I think you correctly won the argument of kind of saying it's like, I mean, the stats this week were very good, but it's kind of like, if Brock Purdy is going to like lead all the statistical categories, like Jared Goff, everything you can say about Brock Purdy, you can also say about Jared Goff in terms of situations. So it's like you would probably have to, him like Purdy, like Tua, you'd have to basically lead in every single major statistical category to get the award.
Yeah, I think I would. I think he would. I agree with that.
Yeah, but definitely very fun team. Yeah, Kyle, that's our show. Just, only at 120 here. Bye weeks. I'm enjoying the bye weeks.
Yeah, a little bit of a shorter show, so hope you all enjoyed that. Some good games this week, some bad games, and then the Patriots played, so not bad.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle. It's a tough one.
We'll get over it. We're okay.
Yeah, tough loss for New England. Kyle, let me know if you can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin, and make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Yes, of course, if like audio only podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, search On the Sideline podcast. It can be available. If you found us through a podcast app, check out the YouTube channel, Jackson Kruger Sports. Can find that stuff out. Yeah, Kyle, any final thoughts before we head out?
No, looking forward to the Devontae Adams revenge game tomorrow night. Should be fun. I think that's all I got going on. Yeah.
DG
Basketball.
says, hey, remember when Tom Brady played for the Pats? Oh, yeah, he did do that. Yeah, forgot about that. Forgot about Buccaneers legend Tom Brady playing for the Patriots.
Did you? You forgot all about it?
Yeah.
In our 6 Super Bowls?
I don't know. Might be, yeah, Kyle, maybe this week. I don't know. Watch one of the championship DVDs. What's your favorite championship DVD out of the 6? It's got to be the 28-3 one.
I was seeing some clips of that last week. I was like, what the hell are we going to show this week if that was what we're showing last week? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we could watch the Seahawks one this week. So there we go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You see, you got, hey, it could be a lot worse, Kyle.
Yeah. Soon we're going to run out of Super Bowls to watch to make us feel better about ourselves. So we'll see.
We'll see. Okay, thank you to everybody. We do appreciate it. And until next time, have a good one.
Peace.